Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. How are you doing, my friend? Welcome back to another fresh pressed episode. This is kind of a fun one. I've been saying this lately where I'm like, this feels creative. I'm such a creative person that I love to express myself in different ways. And today's episode feels really fun. So I'm breaking down 5 giant, huge, soul transformative lessons and blocks of wisdom that I have learned from nature. So let me explain. I'm sure you get the idea of what we're talking about, but I am a human design reflector, which that may mean something to you, it may not, but really the way I've always processed life is I witness wisdom in the way that things are. I reflect, I observe, and I can see how truths in reality sort of ripple through nature, through humans. You know, what is small is also really big. The repeating patterns, like it's just fascinating. And that's how I learn a lot. And so nature has been a giant teacher for me, a huge piece of how when I know something to be true, it's because I can see it reflected in nature, if that makes sense. So I was sitting here before I, was mapping all of this out, and I was really just sitting in stillness and receiving and reflecting on 5 huge lessons, key lessons that I have learned from nature. So I hope that this genuinely serves you. And speaking of nature and nature healing, are you coming to the retreat? It's in September. It's on Vancouver Island. It's actually just off of Vancouver Island. And talk about nature. We are in a sacred forest as well as being right on the ocean. So there is the healing power of the Pacific Northwest in both avenues, the lushness, the trees, the ancient wisdom, as well as the sea and the ocean. And it's going to be so good. I really would love to see you there. You can check the link in the show notes for the retreat, in person, sacred gathering, forever learning and expansion. And it's going to be so beautiful. And in addition to that, have you heard about the app? Woo! I feel like cue the cheering. Yay! The app is out. It is available. It is live. You can check the link below for that as well. The app is all about meditations, inspiring articles, journal prompts, even movement and somatic practices. We've got background sounds, a mix of relaxing tracks you can throw on in the background. Some are upbeat for when you're, kicking it around the house, doing your thing. There is so much in this beautiful app. It is called the Path app, and I am so freaking excited. You can, again, check the link below. It is a legit app, and you pay monthly. You can do 5 days for free. So 5 days on me, go explore, see if it's for you. After that, it's $11.11 per month, $11.11. You can join and leave at any time on the app, just like every other app. And it is going to be like spirituality, self-growth, healing in your back pocket. The articles are so powerful. We talk about inner child healing and star seeds and creating daily routines, connecting to your soul, your intuition, how to process and move through things. There's so much there on that app, and it's being added to every single week. So I invite you over to the Path app. I am so excited. I've been creating it behind the scenes for months. It's been quite the labor of love, and it's been so creative and so fun. So go check that out too. And other than that, I think that's all that I have for you. I am looking outside at beautiful trees and sunshine and birds and literally butterflies. It's such a perfect time for this episode where we're talking all about nature, one of the most powerful teachers that you could possibly have. So let's just dive in, take a sip of your water, take a sip of your tea, and let's get into this episode. Okay, so as I just mentioned, nature is the greatest teacher. When I feel overwhelmed, nature grounds me. When I feel lost or stressed out, nature grounds me. When I step outside and put my face to the sun and feel the breeze, I feel activated. When I sit under the sky, the stars, oh my goodness, I get lost. I become moved. I have breakthroughs and realizations, and I look out there and go, what does all of this mean? When I feel wind through the trees and through the leaves, I somehow just remember the meaning of it all, if that makes sense. So I really wanted to break down the 5 powerful soul lessons that I have received from nature, the things that I learn in my own journey, the things I am constantly reflecting on, these ancient wisdoms. I know that's not proper grammar, but the ancient wisdom that comes from the trees, that comes from the earth. So let's dive in. The first one is seasons, like seasons, am I right? Everything has a time. I'm just like beaming. I feel like truth, especially nature and stuff, it just lights me up to the point where I almost feel like I can't talk. I'm beaming. I don't even know if you can hear it. But anyway, nature moves in rhythms, in seasons, in cycles, in phases, and so do you, as you know. There is a time for blooming and there's a time for planting. There's a time for harvesting. There's a time for rest. There's a time when the leaves shed. And there's a time when the new buds come back. And there's also a long time in between that in the soil and on the trees where it looks like nothing's happening. And it's important for us to recognize our seasons, because a huge problem that I see from my perspective that sort of modern day humans, maybe forever, but modern day humans have, is that we are always trying to force ourselves into summer. We're scrolling through Instagram and we're seeing everyone's summer. Everybody's flashy, end result, happy times, making big moves, better place. And we're always trying to force ourselves to be in a bloom, to be in a productive phase, in a receiving phase where we're getting the things we want. But sometimes our soul is asking for winter. And I even find personally that over the course of the moon cycle, over the course of the week, over the course of your hormone cycles, you will go through mini seasons within the seasons. So when it's physically autumn, surrendering to the want to go inside, to have warm soups and stews and nurture your inner landscape. But maybe in your career, you're going through an autumn, and outside it might be spring, but you're really feeling like you just don't want to push anymore and you need to retreat, right? So seeing that everything we do has cycles and has rhythms. And sometimes even over the day, I'm like, I just want to kind of lay down and be comfy for a little bit. And then I'm like, okay, I've had a rest. I'm up, I'm moving around, over the course of a week, as I said, a month. Just being aware that everything has a time and we can't force ourselves to be in summer all the time. You're not behind when you're in a fall, when you're in a winter, you're in a season. So when we trust this, when we really trust this, then we stop fighting the pause. We stop fighting the sacred pause, as I like to say, the inward phase, the recalibration. And we allow ourselves to move with life instead of against it. We allow ourselves to actually take that time, as I talk about here on the show often, to retreat, to go inward, because that's where we receive wisdom. The winter, whether you live with somewhere with seasons or not, winter has a purpose. We're also nurturing the inner parts of ourselves. We're resting more. There's less daylight. So we're going inward. And then the time will come when we, will be embracing that spring where we've got ideas and we've got notions and we've got energy to do things. It will come, I promise. So everything has a time, and asking yourself, what season am I in right now? And how can I fully honor it? Okay, wisdom nugget number 2, water. Water, am I right? Oh, I'm feeling funny today. Water. It is soft yet powerful. It is gentle but unstoppable. It will freaking find a way. It will go the path of least resistance. It takes the shape of whatever it holds. Water. This is anyone that, has read the Tao. The Tao has been a huge part of my life. The Tao Te Ching. If someone's a Taoist, that's what they're talking about, the Tao Te Ching. And Lao Tzu wrote it. The whole thing is based on the metaphors of water and basically being enlightened through learning through water. That's a very, surface level way to say it, but it is simple yet so wise, the Tao Te Ching. And they also call it the water way. It's loosely translated as the water way because it's just so powerful. Gentle yet unstoppable. They say that with water crashing up on the shore and on rocks, like water will carve out rocks. But it is the most gentle thing. It carves out valleys and canyons because it is gentle but unstoppable. It also flows around obstacles. It doesn't get stopped by a log that goes across the stream or the river. It just finds a way. It follows the path of least resistance and keeps on flowing. And again, it carves out mountains by being soft. Water finds a way. So this teaches me, and I want to remind you that we don't have to push to be powerful. We don't have to be a rock. We sometimes are the most powerful when we embrace the softness, embrace the adaptability, embrace the ability to flow with life. That is sacred. That is spiritually powerful. So there is a time, just like the seasons lesson, right? There is a time to be a rock. There is a time to have a presence. But when we move like water, we become soft yet powerful. So I want to just say a little bit from the Tao Te Ching. It was just a quote on this. He says, "Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water. Yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it." So that's from the Tao Te Ching. So water is a beautiful teacher. Also, I like the teaching. I don't remember who said it. I know Wayne Dyer said it, but he might have been quoting somebody where I think it is in the Tao. Anyway, the only way to pick up water is with open palms. If you go into the stream and try to hold water and grip it in a fist, it'll just fall through your hands. The only way to hold water is through like a gentle, like cupping or like embrace, right? And it just shows us that in life, we need to learn to hold things. We need to learn to be soft, because when we grip, when we clench, that is when we become more brittle. We are more likely to break. We're rigid in our ways. So embracing water and being soft yet powerful, being gentle yet persistent. Okay, number 3, the butterfly. The butterfly, am I right? So everybody, of course, talks about the butterfly and the transformation. But in this part, and this metaphor will go on forever, which also you will read about in my book that is coming out soon, the metaphor for the butterfly is endless. But the part I want to talk about that came to me while I was creating this episode is how transformation has a messy middle. That block of wisdom, that truth bomb is so important to really recognize that, of course, we see the caterpillar, right, in our mind's eye, and then we see the butterfly. But that gooey middle that I've been talking about for years, like literally 4 years on the podcast, the goo phase, the messy middle, the in-between, the sacred goo, the mush, whatever you want to call it, the caterpillar dissolves into goo before transforming. And there are times in our lives when we feel messy, mushy, things are disorienting. We are not yet where we are going. We don't even really know how we're going to do that. We are mush. And we can see this in nature. We can see this in the butterfly, but also in our lives, right? When we try to transition too fast from maybe one relationship to the next or one thing to the next, like we need that in between, where we're kind of a mess and we don't really know what to do. The next step might not even be clear, or we just do not feel ready. And that is actually part of the magic. It's part of the process of transformation. But you have to remember that and re-remember that every single time you're in the mess. Because if you're like me, I'll be in it and I start into like, oh, what's going on? What's wrong? Or what's wrong with me? Like, what is happening here? I feel tired, or I feel I got the spiritual flu, or I don't feel clear, or I feel frustrated. Like, ugh. I should be over this by now or something. I have to just remember this is a little bit of goo and it's okay. Transformation has a messy middle. That's the way energy works. I'm right now seeing intuitively the rainbow and how there is red, orange, yellow, like a rainbow in the sky. But if you actually zoom in, between the red and the orange is a blur. Between the orange and the yellow is a blur, right? As it fades into the next. That's the messy middle. It's just the way it works. So you might be in the middle. We might always be in the middle in some ways, right? As we move through certain things, then now we're in the middle of other things, and that's okay. But in your life, you might be in a messy middle where you're not what you used to be, the goo phase, but you're not yet who you're becoming. And I assure you, this is sacred ground. This is part of the process. And we just learn to breathe through it, to use our tools, and know that the mess is part of it. And if this does resonate, you should Google or look up the goo phase to Leah Joy Awakening Her podcast or something, because I've done so many episodes about it. If you can search in your podcast player, you can find them right here about the goo phase. We've talked about it a lot, and it's important. It's so important because in it, we go, what the heck is happening, right? And we can lay into ourselves. We're not where we're supposed to be and we're behind, but you just have to recognize that it's part of it. So goo is okay. It's part of the process, and the butterfly teaches us that. Okay, number 4 of 5. I want to say patience. Patience, am I right? The power of trusting in the timing, trusting in the process, being patient. Oh my goodness. I feel like that might be one of my deepest lessons, and something that my husband really helps me to learn, not in the way of like, my husband sure teaches patience. I don't mean it like that. He's so grounded and he's such a patient person that I'm like, come on, hurry up. And he's like, no, I'm going to do it right. And just everything in our life, it's so, I observe and I'm like, okay, that's what grounded and patient looks like. And it's such a beautiful attribute to have. So nature is so patient. And Lao Tzu is the one who wrote the Tao. He is the one that says, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. And you might have heard that quote before. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. And, I just think of how often, like every day, that I am rushing. Or when we get caught into forcing the growth, demanding clarity, not being patient in the goo phase, right? Nature knows. Nature knows that true transformation takes time. And the tree doesn't rush to bloom. The flower doesn't panic about how many buds and should it have bloomed by now. I mean, I guess I don't know that, but I just don't think it does. Nature has a way of trusting in divine timing because it's instinct. It's all that there is on that level, right? The tree isn't, in its dormant winter going like, oh my God, we got to get some buds coming, right? Like we got to get some action. There's been no buds for months and it's freaking out and, it's got to force it. It wouldn't work. The weather wouldn't be right. The climate wouldn't be right, and it wouldn't work anyway. But nature is ultimately just is patient, is literally like divine timing is played out in nature. So trust that you don't have to rush your bloom. Don't panic about how many buds are out. I don't even know if this is making sense anymore. But nature knows that, fruit ripens when it's ready. And that's been a hard one for me with business, success, this and that. Like I want to do it already. I want to have the multiple books out by now. I want to rush the stuff, but I'm ripening, if that makes sense. And I trust that everything will ripen. I laugh sometimes the metaphors I get myself into. The business, everything, the vision will ripen as it's ready. So you do too. You know, or in your cells, we are awakening the fact that true transformation takes time. That nature knows this, and so do you deep down. So we want to soften our timeline. We want to breathe into the space between steps, the space between leaps. Trust that there's magic always unfolding. And so there's almost like a quick, everyday kind of magic, and then there's the slow magic. And that is what nature knows. Trust that it's happening. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. There's enough time for it all ultimately. It'll happen. Whether we're talking about, I got to clean the house, or I got to accomplish these goals, or I should be here by now. Trust in the timing of it all. Okay, the last lesson I want to talk about is that the sun will come again, is how this came out, right? The sun will come again. Am I right? So no matter how dark the night, you've probably heard, there's probably songs about this, poems about this. It seems very poetic. No matter how dark the night is, the sun will always rise. Tomorrow will come. And no matter the storm, right? There's always a calm after. There's always at some point another sunny, calm day. There will be light after this. I was recently on a cruise, and there was one day that it was really rocky, and it was like my nightmare. And it wasn't that bad. I was new to cruising, and that was what I didn't want. But anyway, I just kept telling myself, like, there's an end to it. It wasn't like this big crazy storm, but whatever the turbulence was, whatever the rocky seas, it has to end at some point. And I kept thinking that, like, the sun will come again. This has to end at some point. It literally can't last forever. And it didn't ultimately last very long. So sometimes we have to remember that. There will be light after this. At some point soon, there will be joy. There will be clarity. There will be laughter and blooming and abundance and warmth. The wheel keeps turning. There will be an up again. There will be a spring again. There will be a summer again. If you're in a hard moment, that's a reminder that sometimes we really need is this won't last. Just like seasons, like tides, the tide will always go in and out. The seasons will always come. The sun will rise. The moon will rise, and it will happen again and again and again. And our lives look like that. When we look back, we see there were harder times and times where stuff flowed and times when stuff didn't flow as much, but the sun will come again. There will be a tomorrow. And some days, even when I've had just like a really, pardon my French, shit day, like just a bad day, I'll just like go to bed and be like, tomorrow will come. And that can be a good thing. The sun will come again. No matter the storm, there will be a calm. No matter the down, there will be an up. And the light will find you, just like the sun always comes in the morning. So I hope that this has resonated with you. This has been a lot of fun. I definitely feel like this is an area of like, I just geek out on this stuff, and I hope that it's helped you today. Remember that nature teaches us what we already know deep inside. What we've already known deep inside on a soul level, on a being level. We are cyclical. We are transforming. Soft carves out hard. We are timeless. We are held. The sun will come. You are part of a bigger picture. So today I invite you to choose just one of these lessons, or maybe the energy that you feel right now from all of them. Maybe it's about honoring your season or trusting in your mush phase. Maybe it's softening your pace and slowing down and trusting in timing. Or maybe it's believing that there's going to be light after this. And whatever it is, let it really root into you. Take a deep breath into it. You are part of nature. You are nature. You are a natural being, literally made of stardust like the rest of us, planets colliding, and I'm pretty sure that's not actually what happened, but stardust is real. You are an ecological part of nature. No matter how you feel separate from it. You are nature. You're an organism. You're a natural organism. We got all sciencey. You are not separate. You are part of this wisdom. You are part of this miracle, and it's perfect and it's on time. And I hope that this resonated with you. And as always, it's fun to share this space with you. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. And if you want to check out the brand new app for meditations and so much more, you can check out that below, as well as the retreat for the in-depth rest, rejuvenation, activation, the in-person experience. You can check the link for that as well below. There's much more too below down there, like my books and how to reach me and one-on-one mentorship and all the fun things. Sending you many blessings. I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I genuinely hope that it served you. If you feel like you're in the give and back mood, I would be so honored if you left a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to the podcast. It really does help so much. And if you're looking for books to integrate into your life, to create daily practices, to keep you on your path of self-growth and awakening, you should check out my Amazon store. I've got a few daily practice style books that you can choose from, including Manifest This Shit, which is a coloring and activity book for manifestation. We've got the brand new one called Both Sides, which is a daily practice. And we've also got the bedtime ritual. So you can check out the link for that as well as other things in the show notes below. And I will see you in the next episode.